Would you like to talk about the Resident Evil Project Resistance?
Looks weird.
Looks weird.
Looks weird.
What looks
That's
weird about it?
I watched probably like I forget how long the video was. I think it was like because it was like a trailer and gameplay show off, right?
Yeah, they did a trailer and they did like a gameplay demo.
So I don't know, man. I it just looks weird. Like it's it's timed and you have to escape the levels. It's not like just like a story progression. It looks like to me. It it's just weird.
Hmm.
It looks like like a game where it's like survive this long to escape, and I hate those kinds of games. Like I absolutely hate it. Like just for an example, like there's Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare, right? It's basically that, but just the ending half. It's like, all right, wait for escape. Like that's what I'm getting just from what I saw. I
Right.
didn't watch the whole thing because I was like, this looks dumb. Um, I was really excited about the 4-player thing. Um, until I saw that it was like the time to like you got to do certain amount of things within a certain time to like pass the level. Like I'm not a huge fan of that. I would
Right.
prefer just the typical like, all right, let me have to kill these things and progress and find items to survive and then just keep progressing and not the whole survive and find these because it almost feels like it's trying to be like Dead by Daylight in my opinion, but
Right.
without like Dead by Daylight doesn't have a timer on it, Like that's what it feels like to me, and it's I'm not a huge fan of that.
So yeah, and I guess for anybody that like hasn't seen the trailer, like the basic setup is that there's four survivor characters that you can play as, and then one, I think they called it the mastermind, who is the character that I don't know if you even have to like fight them directly or if they just or attempting to. The trailer makes it look like that player will like manipulate stuff and obstacles that the other survivors have to get through, and if you can kill all of them then you win, or if you survive as the survivors then you win, which is
Yeah, and
not
like
sort
you
of
have
what
to
I
like
really
find
expected.
weapons. You have to like find weapons and stuff like that. Like I get like in Resident Evil, you start with a pistol and you eventually find like the shotgun, you find the submachine gun, you find the sniper rifle, stuff like that. But for each game to be like it's basically an online game at this
Hmm.
point. It's and like I said, it feels like it's trying to be Dead by Daylight, but a little more action based instead of hidey. Which I mean, in that perspective, I'm cool with. I would like Dead by Daylight if there was more action in it,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like, don't tell me this is a Resident Evil game. This is the same issue I had with Resident Evil, what, 7? Biohazard.
Right.
It's not what I want out of a Resident Evil game. Like I get that they want to, try to mix up the series and they want to, do different things. But for God's sakes, you just remade Resident Evil 2 and everybody loved, the classic style. What makes you think going back to a different style is a good idea?
Right. Yeah.
Like I can't comprehend why they would do something like that.
Right. Yeah, well,
Like
I feel
if you
like
want to make the game, make it a different title by the same people. Like this is a different game. Maybe it's in the Resident Evil world, but don't call it Resident Evil. Like
right.
that's not what it is.
Yeah, I think it's definitely meant to be like it's a spin-off for sure. And from what I understand about it, I think it's been in development like since before the Resident Evil 2 remake. So they it sounds as if they probably didn't expect the remake to take off in the way that it did, being like I would argue maybe even more well received than 7 was. And 7 was
It
like the big
100% was.
turning point in the series. So they probably didn't expect that, number one, which makes people just want them to continue doing that, like, or that style at least. So they, I guess what I'm getting at is like this sort of type of game reads to me more as like the kind of game they would have made before making 7 and before making the 2 remake, when they just have, what is Resident Evil? Well, Resident Evil is a franchise. It's a license that we slap on a whole bunch of different kinds of gameplay styles and see what people want, Uh, that's kind of what this feels like. They're like, let's just
Yeah.
try, let's try the Dead by Daylight thing, which, like, asynchronous multiplayer games are becoming more and more popular these days, it seems. So it's like them trying to say, let's see if we can try one of those. Whereas I originally thought that
I
this
don't
was
think
going to be like Resident Evil Left 4 Dead, which I was just like, sign me up.
that's what I was exactly. That's what I'm saying. They could have done so many. Like when you said 4 players, it's like, oh my god, like could it be like basically Left 4 Dead 3 that I've been waiting for,
Hmm.
but just third person? And they screwed me. They made Dead by Daylight, but Resident Evil,
Yeah.
and I'm just like don't get me wrong. I've played Dead by Daylight. My friends are obsessed with it. I played it last night, like I said earlier. But that's only because I made a deal with them that I could play another Guitar Hero song, and then I would have to play Dead by Daylight if I did. So, I made a
Your first choice,
sacrifice.
basically.
Yeah, it's not my first choice. I made
Right.
a deal to get another song in Guitar Hero, but I had to play Dead by Daylight if I did. So, it wasn't my choice, but I did play. This game might be a little more entertaining than that, except I don't like the idea of a timer. I think that's so stupid.
Right.
Like you should either have to kill the survivors or you should have to escape. There should be no time frame, because then what happens? Then it's like the mastermind, if they don't escape in time, they lose, or the mastermind wins then. It's like that doesn't seem like a very fun approach to the game, because it's
Right.
like you're gonna have to be hurrying around, and like I get that's what you want to do, like in a survival horror game. You want to have like very little time to think, and you want to be on your toes, but it shouldn't be timed. It should be based off of what is happening around you, not oh my god, I only have 2 minutes to get this thing, and get over there, and then I have to do this to get out of here, all within this certain amount of time. Like, it should be more about like the path that people are taking
Right.
and stuff like that, and how quickly you're accomplishing those, not like the time frame.
Right.
I
So
have nothing else to say other
potentially
than
strange choices.
yeah. I don't have anything else to say about this game other than I think that's a huge screw up,
Right.
and I think that while there is a certain niche for it, I don't think it's going to steal away the Dead by Daylight people. They've been doing too many good things for that game right now, especially with like the Stranger Things add-on, the Ghostface add-on, the Ash from the Evil Dead series add-on, like all that. Like they're doing too many good things for them to steal that community. Maybe the Friday the 13th community will go there because that game sucks, but I don't know.
That's a goal to aspire to steal the audience of a game that nobody likes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, my only other thing would be to say that um, there's potential for a good game to be here. Whether or not it is a good Resident Evil game remains to be seen. And I just hope that they don't like sort of blow the goodwill that they've built up over the last 2 games by making this side spin-off game that nobody really wanted or was asking for, and ends up not being a really good time. It would be a shame
Yeah,
to be like, yeah, Resident Evil's back, and then immediately they're just like, okay, well, maybe they didn't learn anything. So doesn't mean that they're not also working on a Resident Evil 3 remake. Doesn't mean they're not also working on a Resident Evil 8 at this time. Those are probably both still happening, but just seems like an odd choice at this point.
odd choice.
So,
Yeah, that's what I would say. We'll see when it comes out. We'll see we'll definitely revisit it once it comes out. We'll talk about it, and we'll see what's up, what people think.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this clip of the Brotherly Love Gaming Show. Spence, what do you think of that clip?
It's a pretty good clip.
Pretty good clip. If you want to see more clips just like that one, you can find them here on YouTube, or you can listen to the full audio version of the show on iTunes. Thanks for hanging out.